Welcome to the Running Channel podcast with me, Rick Kelsey, him, Andy Badley, and her, Sarah Hartley. What a week it has been. And you know what? We are going to be talking about a subject today that absolutely fascinates me. You know why, Sarah? Because I don't know what I'm doing. Supplements.
Yeah, there are so many supplements out there. It feels like my social feed is constantly full of people trying to sell me lots of different supplements.
Sell you. That's the key.
Yeah, so we're going to go through the most used and heard of supplements used by runners and try to understand how they could benefit your running.
Yeah, and we also need to talk about the fact that recently, you two, I wasn't here, this is what happens when I'm not here, had a slightly controversial chat about what happens if you walk a marathon and whether you can say that you've run it or not. And I feel that's caused a little bit of a stir. And so we're going to take on another topic that might cause a similar issue, which is chip time versus Strava time. So,
can't
Oh,
it's
wait.
all going to kick off at the end.
Let's do it. So it all kicked off, right, last week, because we discussed if you run a marathon but you walk partly during that, have you run a marathon?
I argue
and the comments
yes.
went wild.
Well, mainly because I think you said you can't say you've run it. You said you can say you completed a marathon. Is that right?
I don't think I was too controversial, Andy.
I walked for about 20 metres during Valencia Marathon 2 years ago. I've only done one marathon. Do you think I've run a marathon?
Well, this is why it's a high pressure game. So
Yeah.
in the main, you ran. So
In the main?
In the main.
You
In the
ran with one hand.
supplement.
So if it's just you walk to a toilet station or you're picking up some water or drink, then you still ran it. I would say.
Can I just
But
quickly ask
you
though?
still completed a marathon. I was not dismissing people who had finished the marathon, done 26 miles. Great, go for it. I was just saying that if your strategy was a bit like me, right?
Yeah.
When I did London in 2017.
Yeah.
I walked a lot of that.
Yeah, but you still say
You've
you
run a
ran
marathon, you've run a
London.
marathon, yeah.
You've run a marathon. I just think it's a phrase. I think you're drilling down too much into it.
No, you're right.
So you haven't run a marathon, you've completed a marathon.
You're right to challenge me.
So you're actually wrong.
I feel like it's kicking off again.
Are you wrong?
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Let's leave it there and move on.
Let's leave it there.
I completed a marathon.
Oh,
I've
no, so
done a
you're doubling
marathon.
down now. You said you're wrong, but then you're going to use the same.
Maybe
No,
you need to.
I'm with Sarah that if you set out to walk a marathon from the beginning, then you've completed a marathon, but you haven't run a marathon, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you use a run-walk strategy and run some of it, or you end up walking because you've got a stitch or you need to walk like I did to stretch off cramp or whatever, doesn't really matter the proportions of running and walking, then you run a marathon.
Also, if you say it really fast, you can't really hear the difference between done and run. So I just think say it quickly.
Okay, yeah.
I've done a marathon.
Should we say it quickly now? and
Run a
move on?
marathon.
Yeah. I've done a marathon.
So if anyone wants to
Maybe
listen to the
now you need
podcast
to
or
run
watch on
a
YouTube and
marathon.
hate somebody, it's Rick. That's who you need to be.
Yeah. Correct. But how's your week of running been, Rick?
Yeah. One of the mums in Elizabeth's class has started to get really competitive with me.
Right.
Yeah. And I know
Is
we
she
talked
faster
about
than you?
This is interesting
we talked
because
about
I listened to another
comparison last
podcast
week.
where they talk about affairs that happen at the school gate. So
Really?
this isn't that,
No,
right?
this is not happening. Her name is Hannah, though. That's a really
Where's she
old
from?
joke about
Where's she
how
from?
I used to always date people called Hannah.
And that you were massively
Where's she
paranoid when
from?
someone wrote in from...
Where's she
Where's she
from?
from?
North London. She just said she's got me in her sights at Parkrun.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I didn't realise there was competition there.
Because every single week at Parkrun, you hammer it, don't you?
Yeah, well, Hannah has gone from 29 minutes to 23 minutes.
Oh, wow.
In the space of a year. She had a baby, came back from having a baby. And she's one of the, the groups of parents that we kind of
shout
hang
out to Hannah.
at. Yeah.
Well done,
Housefire
Hannah.
Parkrun.
Yeah. So real big improvement. But she says that I'm in her fast track vision.
I imagine you're
She's
only in
just
her
going
sights,
for me.
though, in the second half. Not to slander her here. Maybe I'm giving you
Yes.
some stick here because you go off
Oh, yeah,
so
'cause your
fast.
first kilometre is the speed of
everything-
light.
Yeah, your first half is at 20-minute 5K pace.
Correct,
And then
yeah.
the second half is
Yeah,
at
that's
25
right.
minute
Very
half
much
marathon.
the tortoise and the hare
So-
situation
Well,
going on with Rick.
So this week I'm going to be doing some speed work.
Are you?
Yeah.
It's actually, that's
I'm going to put some speed work in.
that's with
Is it
us,
motivated
isn't
because
it?
you want to stay ahead of Hannah?
I want to stay ahead of Hannah.
I haven't
A
heard
bit
you very
friendly
motivated
competition
recently.
is great.
Yeah,
though.
so I was reading a book on speed work actually that I found just kind of, I don't know where it was. It was lying around the office. I just started reading it before we had our premiere last week. And I'm just going to put a little bit into action. Yeah. Speaking of premieres,
Oh, we hosted a premiere.
Yeah.
You
You
were in
got a little
Amsterdam,
movie
Andy.
red carpet.
We did. It was very fun.
Yeah, I was in Amsterdam, so I didn't get to go. I was a bit
Amsterdam.
Can I
Can I
say-
hear your Dutch accent?
You can absolutely not hear my Dutch accent, no.
Do you
But
wanna-
amazingly, all of the people in the Netherlands, well, I mean, it's a massive generalisation, speak better English than most people in England.
No, really?
It's unbelievable the level of language.
Did you have a nice time? Did you run?
I did run out there. I've now forgotten the name of the park. It's quite famous for running, and it was beautiful. Beautiful autumnal, perfect, crisp
Oh, nice.
morning. Still, the leaves are changing colour. And not in Amsterdam, but this weekend on my runs at home, one of my runs at home, I caught a leaf.
What do you mean?
Very
While you're running, you caught it?
As
Yeah.
it fell.
Yeah. I was
well
talking
done.
about this thing. It was
Nice.
about this time last year on the podcast, or maybe 2 years ago, how I was like obsessed with trying to catch leaves as they fell around me in this sort of glorious utopian.
That sounds glorious.
Yeah.
Lovely. And how's the marathon training going?
Better than it was 2 weeks ago, and better than last week. So I'm building up. I ran 2 1-hour runs over the weekend, one much quicker than the others, the other, and did some strides as well. So fingers crossed, I can push on from here because we're now 4 weeks minus a day.
Also, great news because we're recording this on a Monday. Tomorrow, you've got to run really fast, haven't you?
Well, that's yeah, yep. Well, I mean, I need to run, much faster than I've run in the last few weeks, and so that was part of the motivation for getting back to what I did over the weekend, was to make sure that I'd done something. Those strides are a little bit quicker than the pace I've got to run tomorrow.
Rick's also involved in this. I'm involved in this as well.
Is Rick actually running though?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
What do
Yeah.
you mean? Why are you so surprised?
Yeah.
I'm genuinely shocked because normally we go to these things and you're just like,
No,
hosting, holding
he's
I'm
back.
hosting.
not
I'm normally
compare.
hosting.
No,
know-
tomorrow we are attempting to run. I mean, it sounds ridiculous to say it out loud. A sub 2:30 marathon
Yes, as a relay
as
team.
a relay
As a relay
team.
team.
We had
Because
a-
why not on a random Tuesday?
We had a planning meeting while you were in Amsterdam, and the paces are a bit spicy.
The paces are spicy, yeah. So I'll have to see if I can do them.
But you're gonna have to.
Oh yeah, it's fairly contingent on me being able to do it, isn't it? Don't I have to run above
They're a
pace
bit spicy.
to make up for the fact that
Yeah.
some of you are going to run slower than the pace,
Yeah.
and I have to do a lot more volume than all of you guys.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you were, but Tom's hurt his IT band, so he's going to rest up ahead of his long run this weekend, and I'm going to do his splits as well as my splits.
Okay.
So I'm
Tom's
actually
not
doing the
running?
same amount of distance as you, so you haven't
wow.
got
Oh,
you haven't
wow.
got that anymore.
What's
But
your-
you're split
what's
into
your
much
pace?
smaller chunks, right?
No, I'm still doing K reps, but I'm doing 4Ks that at 4-minute K pace, and then 3Ks at 5:24 because I'm taking on the pace that Tom needed to do.
Okay.
So you're doing 7K? Haven't
So
I
you-
got a bit more than that though?
7.2.
I thought I had like 12K.
No.
You're doing some 4-minute pace, so that's at your
Yeah, absolutely zero
limit.
chance that I'm going to be able to hit that.
That's your limit.
But yeah, that is
Yeah.
my limit. I went out and did the same session last week as
Right.
practice, but I did do it on like a hilly out and back, and I got nowhere near. So
It's not
this is
in
gonna be
one
great.
go though, is it? Is it?
No, it's in like
it's in K chunks.
and also it's so much. So Andy and Mark are doing it. You both of you are like, I want my reps as close together as possible. I want to simulate an
Did
interval
Mark say the same
session.
thing as me?
Yeah, classic.
But I don't wanna do-
Meanwhile,
if I
the
do
rest
s-
of us are
yeah.
like, give me as much time as possible in between each.
Exactly.
I would ideally,
Yeah.
if I had a day in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah, I'm happy to
so
come back and
different.
finish it next week.
Fine.
This is fascinating.
Next year, even.
Yeah,
Whereas,
yeah.
whereas you and Mark were like 60 seconds. Give me 60 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I said 60 seconds, but I definitely said, I was like, well, if I'm doing 7, 8, whatever it is, 12 by a K that I thought I was doing, then I was like, I don't want to spread that out of 2.5 hours. I don't want like 10 minutes recovery between each one. Like that's way worse for me in terms of like looking after my body and stuff.
This is
So-
just polar
Maybe
opposites.
if you
Yeah.
took more supplements.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
then
Nice. Hello.
you'd be able to tackle it a bit
Yeah.
better. That was nice, wasn't it?
Very,
Yeah.
very nice.
Don't
That's
worry
what we're
about my
talking about
running.
today.
I had a great
I mean,
time.
do you two take supplements?
No.
Occasionally, depending. So right now I'm taking a kind of recovery supplement in the evenings to help with my marathon stuff, which has magnesium and stuff like that in it. We're going to come on to those, the different things. But I would say, my interesting take on supplements is that when I was competing as a professional, one, there was like inherent risks to me in taking supplements from a contamination perspective, because there's a lot of stuff in the press about unapproved supplements not being tested and not being batch tested, and therefore you could be consuming a banned substance by mistake, and then you're still liable because you've chosen to take that thing.
Yeah.
But then also the psychology of it. So almost it's quite hard to know exactly what's going to work for you as an individual. And I almost didn't want to be on the start line guessing whether something was going to make me faster, or in a lot of cases, most supplements, if you get them wrong or take them at the wrong time or you take too much of it, could maybe make you worse or make you gain weight because you're carrying water or whatever it might be. because I was so paranoid and obsessed over everything, I think I ran at my best when I didn't take anything at all.
See, so I
Really?
don't take
Yeah.
anything, but I just find the whole thing overwhelming.
Yeah.
I feel like there are so many different things. Everyone is taking a different cocktail mix of different things every single morning. I kind of wish that it was as simple as so I didn't have any supplements at all, I don't think, when I was a kid either. But I had one friend, and if I went over to her house for dinner, we all got a little chewy
You all got
vitamin.
pills.
we all got given a little chewy vitamin after dinner, and I used to be like, sick, I get a vitamin, because it just tasted like a sweet. But yeah,
Yeah.
I wish they were more like that, whereas it does feel like you can have an entire kind of 5-course meal of pills.
Well, that's because the science is varied, to say the least. The only supplement that I take is probiotics, and basically I started taking probiotics because when we had Albie, toddler now, I just started getting like this weird vomiting bugs, basically from going to nursery.
Ooh,
And
lovely.
probiotics are meant to protect your gut, right?
Correct.
So work with your natural gut microbiome.
Yeah.
Is that the correct thing? It's interesting though, because I haven't read up enough on the science of the probiotics, but I do know that in recent years, like things like yogurt, like particular brands of drinkable yogurt that you'd see advertised online, had to change their advertising because they made claims about digestive health or something that they then weren't allowed to make those claims anymore.
Yeah.
So a lot of the claims of the various probiotics now focus, I think, on ones that actually survive the transit and can still be alive in your in
how
your
many,
body
how
and
many
actually
millions of bacteria
and have an
to
impact.
get to, yeah. And I think if you're doing any of this stuff and you're thinking about taking some of these things, it's also important to not do too many changes at
How
the
do you
same
know
time.
if you take if you go from nothing to take 5 different supplements, then you think I feel great. You're like, well, is it all
Which
5
one?
in combination?
Exactly.
Do I need to pay for all 5 as well? Because that's the thing, like some of them you can get quite cheaply, but a lot of these, if you start to wrap them up and take them all the time, it can
it's 30 quid a month. It's £30 a month.
Also worth.
Yeah.
It's also, I do think, as a genuine, I know we joke about science and banter on the show, like a public service announcement, it's worth checking what's in each thing, because there will be, in most things, this inverted U theory. So that's like taking more of something until you get to the optimum point, and at the top of the U gives you the most impact. But then if you continue taking more, it drops off again. And in some cases, particular supplements or particular, substances can have a negative effect on your body in excess. And if you were taking, say, a multivitamin that has a bit of everything in it, and then you're supplementing for individual items, and then you're taking another supplement that might be for recovery, but also has some of those, you could be taking 3 supplements that all have a quantity of an individual substance in it. And then that could mean that you've got too much of that thing, so too much of a good thing.
I would say, one of the issues I suppose I had as well was the fact that, that doubling up and I also started taking kefir every day. My problems were solved, but I don't know what solved it.
Yeah, could be the probiotics.
Yeah,
could be
so
the
you do
kefir,
need
could
to,
be
like,
the fact that
slowly
your
phase
child
it
got a
in.
little bit older and stopped getting the same things back in the nursery.
Should we go into some specifics then? So let's start off with like the big ones that you always hear about. Protein.
Yeah, it's a good thing, isn't it?
do you know a protein documentary that I made is the reason I'm probably sitting in this chair right now.
Oh yeah, because I could see that you could present something, and then we had a conversation about like talking about running.
I made a protein documentary for the BBC in 2017.
Wow.
And then Andy
that's why you're
said,
here.
do you want to do the running channel? And I was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
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 Do I have to work every day then?
You made it
'Cause
very
that's
clear
not
to me,
true.
like, I won't know anything, and I will refuse to learn anything. And every time I do learn something, I'll immediately forget it afterwards.
Hi, I'm Rick, a goldfish. Hi, I'm Rick.
Do you know,
exactly.
you know what I learned making that documentary though, is that for most people, if you are not training intensely or you're not doing lots of workouts every week, that you can get enough protein from your food day to day. But if you are training intensely, then protein can be incredibly useful, and actually athletes do need more of it than many other people.
As well, it's also convenient, I would say.
Convenience and portability.
As to whether
Yeah.
you're going to supplement versus versus have it in your diet.
It's like it's a bit hard to just drag a steak round with you.
Yeah, and also certain diets, if you are,
Yeah.
like there's always a lot of conversation when someone wants to potentially become vegetarian for ethical and or ecological sustainability reasons, but is also like doing a lot of exercise. Then like, oh, am I going to be able to get protein? And yes, you can get it from a vegetarian diet for sure. But then sometimes it becomes a conversation about, oh, right, well, I could get it more easily. and I
Yeah,
can take
by
it with
doing
me
it.
to work or to the gym or
Yeah.
whatever it might be. So yeah, protein, you need protein, or rather you need the amino acids that the protein's been broken down into, from my understanding, to then rebuild muscle. And for you to build muscle, often that's what we're talking about. We're talking about protein in the context of doing hard exercise, causing damage to muscle,
Yeah.
which is then repaired and either grows more muscle or bigger or stronger muscle, or just repairs the damage that you're doing in order to kind of have that adaptation and then be fitter and healthier and stronger.
Yeah, so if you're going through a training block, it's worth, I always feel, to up your protein intake. I mean, recreational athletes go 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. But if you're a serious athlete and you require more, then it's 1.2 to 2 grams per kilogram
That's
of
quite a
body
lot, isn't
weight.
it? Like I think
that
that
seems
that'd be like 100, I
Yeah.
think like 150 grams of protein, which sounds like a lot.
per
so-
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get fixated on the amounts. I think making sure you have some protein. I think most of us neglect protein at breakfast. If you think about what you actually would consume in a like.
I had a salmon bagel this morning, so
It's not
check.
you, and that's got omega. I don't think we
Yeah.
want to talk about omega 3s in it, but like oily
Feel
fish has
great.
omega 3s in it, which is supposed to be really good for you for general like inflammation and so on.
And if I go to this bagel place when I have Herbert with me in the morning, they give him a whole sheet of ham.
So
Really?
he's doing fine. He is fine for protein.
Herbert really gets his protein in the morning.
But I'd
yeah,
say
and
like
they give him a little takeaway bit
A
of ham as
classic
well.
breakfast, which people are moving away from because of ultra processed foods and stuff, but like a breakfast cereal, very little protein in that, other than the milk you might be having with
Yeah.
it. So that's sort of interesting.
Do you know, a great video to watch, one that I did with Sean Seckham, the nutritionist,
On what to eat before
what to eat before and after a run.
That is very good.
That has changed my dietary intake
Oh,
in the
really?
mornings. Yeah, making that video.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, and it keeps up. Certainly, if I do have if I'm at a hotel or something and I choose a healthier breakfast that has higher protein in it in terms of ratio to carbohydrate, then I do feel fuller for longer during the day, which is an interesting thing. So yeah, protein can be convenient. There's lots of different forms of taking it. Generally, it's powder that you then shake into a protein shake. Whey protein is probably the most popular, but that is dairy. So there are other sources that are pea protein and so on. I actually genuinely don't know which ones are more effective. Sure, some of the stuff I've read said that whey is the most easily processed and synthesized, but I'm not sure if that's true.
So protein is a big buzzword. Creatine is another.
Can I finish something on protein?
Yeah.
Have you heard about it's called like the magic window?
Oh, the 30-minute window after you've exercised.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think this is the perils now of AI search as well. So depending on the question that you put into Google, you get 2 different answers to this. So for years and years, everyone's talked about between 30 and 60 minutes post-exercise, get the protein in, because it's the anabolic window. So it's the chance for you to be generating and repairing muscle more optimally the sooner you do it. My understanding of the recent science is that's not really a thing, and that the window's massive, sort of 4 to 6 hours. And what's way more important is how much protein you have on the whole during the day, rather than the specific timing of it.
This is useful.
And if you type it into Google, if you type in when should I have protein after a run, then it'll, because there's so much literature over the last 20 years that says that this magic anabolic window post exercise, it will say
Within 30 minutes.
yeah, within 30 minutes or within 60 minutes, whatever.
That's interesting, because then the whole argument on like convenience and portability kind of goes, because it is just like, we'll get enough protein in throughout the day. It doesn't matter how quick or easy or quickly you need
exactly.
to consume
What people are doing is they're not getting enough protein in on the day of a run, but the window itself has dissipated.
But if you type in, does the magic window or the anabolic window or the 30-minute window after exercise for protein consumption or something like that, type that into Google, then you get the different answer, which is the more recent science, which says no, it doesn't exist.
Got to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Right, so that's protein.
Yes.
Now let's talk about creatine.
Which I've never taken.
Producer Owen has, though.
I
think that was in his list.
Producer Owen loves the gains with a Z.
Have you not? But is that fear, Andy? You've not taken it because you just don't know what else is in it.
No, it's actually, I think I would take it now, and I'm thinking about starting to take it, but I'm in that area where you talked about almost, I don't want to start taking lots of stuff at once and not understand what difference it makes. But when I was competing, the science or the general conversation was there's three energy zones: aerobic, which is effectively slow release energy but pretty sustainable; anaerobic, which is much faster release energy but you deplete it really quickly; and then something called the anaerobic alactic zone, I think is what it's called, which is effectively what creatine fuels or allows you to fuel. but that only is for bursts of like 10 seconds. So that's even faster delivery and even more quickly depleted. And the relevance of that to running 1500 meters or 10K just didn't seem to be useful. So there was some logic or argument to be using it for the stuff I did in the gym where I was trying to generate power to be a more powerful athlete and a more efficient athlete. But again, I just, during the best parts of my career, I sort of didn't risk taking lots of different things.
Yeah.
But I think I would now. And the science for aerobic and endurance sports and so on seems to suggest that creatine would help with that anyway.
Because it helps you store energy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it also feels like it's quite like compared to other supplements, I've seen people like add it to coffee, or like you can add it to protein shakes as well. Like it does seem quite easy to kind of integrate into your life.
I don't think it has a flavour, which is helpful, I think. But yeah, it can enhance glycogen storage in muscles. So that's
Useful
obviously
for
useful.
marathon
Yeah,
training.
exactly. There is also, people used to talk about how I think you gain maybe 1% in, it depends on how much you take, but 1% weight gain potentially of your total body mass because you retain more water.
Got it.
But then I've seen some recent stuff that the retention of that water might make you perform better in endurance events in the heat. So
I see. Well, that makes sense.
I think some of this, there's lots of claims now where it says if you were to search for the benefits of creatine, there's probably like 20 claims of the stuff it helps you with, but some of them are really well documented. So like power. So if you're doing a really long endurance race like the Tour de France, but then you had to sprint up the hill or sprint at the end, then it would help boost that power output. And similarly, retaining that extra glycogen. Those could be useful things.
So quite specific.
I mean, electrolytes is another area where I feel more and more they even get handed out at races now.
Now this, actually, saying I don't take any, I love taking electrolytes.
So do I.
Yeah.
And I
Just
feel
around
like,
races though.
Yeah, it's not. I feel like I could take it every single day, but really when it gets hot, or if you can electrolyte load, which is something that I learned as well. So like prior to a race, in the same way that you're carb loading, electrolyte loading I think is really useful, especially if you're like me and you're just rubbish at hydrating.
So electrolytes are replacing, generally, it's your salt balance in the body. So the balance of natural salts that you would sweat out. So I think that's things like potassium, sodium, magnesium. And it's replacing those. And I travel with sachets of electrolyte, particularly because I dehydrate on flights and things like that. Similarly, if you've ever had a hangover or...
No.
but then I think that's
or if you've got a cold as well, taking some electrolytes.
Having electrolyte before you go to bed, if you've come in from the pub perhaps, or a few too many gabbies in Rick's case.
See, I heard it's not good to take them before bed though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember why, but someone said it's always better to have it in the morning.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't know whether that's because you don't want to affect your balance as you go to sleep.
I've gone off the idea of like what's potentially a myth, which is that a hangover is dehydration based, and that therefore if I drink loads before I go to bed, then I'm much more likely to wake up and not feel awful.
Yeah, maybe. But then so do you remember Barocca?
Yes.
Because that's essentially...
Still a thing, I think.
Oh, is it still?
Yeah.
I just remember the Barocca adverts, and I feel like that was before any of the kind of big electrolyte hype.
I'm not even sure Barocca's an electrolyte, is it? I think
It's probably
like
not, but it's very similar.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's that like effervescent tablet, and now I feel like all runners are like, an electrolyte.
Well, it's just
whereas
like
before then,
it's regaining your balance.
yeah,
Essentially.
Just on
which you need with a hangover.
Yeah.
Brilliant. But just on creatine, like I said we should ignore them, but the list is quite long now of what people are trying to say it will help with. So we've already talked about a few things, but buffer rising blood pH, reduce neuromuscular fatigue, counteract inflammation, speed up recovery, potentially help bone strength, degenerative brain conditions, heart disease. These are all the things that. But then the stuff I've read is
supplement.
and it's probably is one of the most researched. But then a lot of the people who are involved in the research are receiving grants from like the industry that makes creatine and or have some kind of interest in it.
So it's not independent.
That's not true across the board. There's loads of people that are doing independent stuff. But obviously there's a lot of people who are making money from selling supplements too.
I saw an incredible post on Instagram last week where someone was basically like weighing up all the contradictory advice that is out there for just like daily life. Like don't stay up late, don't do this, don't do whatever, like just loads of different things. And there were some supplements in there as well.
Yeah.
And they were basically making the argument of like, there's probably an argument against doing something for any single thing that you could enjoy. But if you don't do all of those things, ultimately you're going to be more miserable because you're not doing all of it. And the only one that I saw a doctor commented underneath the post, the only one where they were like, categorically, this is proven to have really negative effects, was alcohol. But then even the doctor that had commented on it was like, but ultimately you decide what risks you take. I drink alcohol every now and then.
Yeah.
So I think with all of this stuff, there are going to be loads of pros. In whatever supplement you get, there's going to be a list of cons in the packet that comes with it. You have to take that informed risk, which, you know, we're all time poor. If you scroll through a minute long video of someone telling you to take this, you do need to take a bit of time to like go through and look at the
Like
pros and
actually
cons.
research it,
Yeah. Which is hard because there's so much conflicting advice out there.
One of the ones that I'm, you know, as sure as I can be, that has really positive research on it, and I don't know the actual quantities that you're supposed to take, so you do need to go and look that up for yourself, is vitamin D. Particularly in the
especially in the winter.
Yeah, because your body generates it, or you know, receives it through sunlight.
It's also something that you can test for. I'm not
Yes.
sure how easily it is or whether you need to make a doctor's
you're
appointment.
deficient.
But yeah, testing for a deficiency in vitamin D can be useful.
Yeah, and it's one of these funny things. It's a vitamin, but it's also a hormone. So it's something called my understanding is it's called a prohormone, which is effectively an inactive hormone, but then it gets converted in the body into a form which then allows it to act as a hormone, a signaling molecule to other elements of the body to trigger things. So it helps with absorbing various nutrients in the body. It can help build lean muscle mass because of its association with various things like testosterone production. And you can be tired if you don't have enough vitamin D, and it can also help with your immune system, from my understanding. So it helps with quite a lot of different bodily functions by acting in that way.
Yeah, worth a top up in the winter.
Or if you're
I feel like
injured.
I've butchered that science, but you know, don't hate me for it.
Have you heard of ashwagandha? Tom was banging on about this in New York.
Yeah, he loves this. He started taking it, and it is supposed to help with like stress and also helps your sleep as well. Stress reduction, better sleep, immune support, muscle growth and recovery, and enhanced endurance. Tom started taking it and he's noticed a difference and loves it. But you were saying you're not supposed to take it for long periods of time.
So I did have taken it for a little bit last year, actually, for that purported like reduction in anxiety and stress. And I definitely, I mean, hard to know, placebo, right?
Yeah.
But I felt like it helped. But then I started to get a little bit more stressed about the fact I was reading things about it that said, oh, don't take it for more than 3 months, or don't take it more than this amount, or don't. I was thinking, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to cycle it, like come off and on it? I genuinely don't know. But it has been used for thousands of years. Do you know what an adaptogen is?
No.
No, neither did I. I had to look it up.
What is it?
It's talked about in everything, right? Like, you'd be like, oh, this is full of adaptogens. So I'll read you the kind of the definition that I looked up. So adaptogen, that term refers to non-toxic plants or their extracts, which are purported to diminish stress and support overall well-being when consumed. So the term suggests these substances help with the body adapting to both physical and psychological stresses, restore balance and maintain homeostasis.
There you go. I guess as well, like the thing with supplements is probably as we move to like more and more kind of processed foods, which a lot of people do. I definitely do it out of convenience.
Yeah.
That probably does mean that compared to kind of a few years ago when people maybe weren't taking as many supplements, they probably were getting a lot more through food because there was maybe more time to cook, or they were putting more kind of natural ingredients into it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wasn't putting ashwagandha in it. I think it's a herb native to India and North Africa. So that wasn't making it into my regular cooking.
That would be so interesting though, to compare like foods from different cultures and see which culture has the most like nutrient and supplement.
Well, they talk
rich
about
foods.
Mediterranean diet, for example, because it does have a lot of things like olives and olive oil and oily fish and things like that in it, being good for you in certain ways.
Would you say the typical British food gives you like a well supplemented? If you think of like staple English dishes, roast dinner,
Great.
fish and chips,
Great.
They're quite beige, aren't they?
bangers and mash.
Yeah.
Great.
One of the big things is colour. You need colour. You need as much colour as you can to have
Our
it.
food
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
so beige.
Roast dinner's pretty colourful.
But I suppose if you had like red cabbage and
Yeah.
sprouts and
Yeah.
peas and carrots and stuff with it,
They're
yeah.
all the worst parts of a roast dinner.
Yeah, they're the bit that you sort of
Like the
tolerate with your
Yorkshire
sausages,
pudding is
isn't it?
that. Yeah, we're all here for the Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah.
This is what my children haven't learned yet, is that they'll like eat all the bits they like first, like the Yorkshires and the potatoes and sausage and chicken or whatever, and then they've just got a plate full of vegetables, and they're like, I don't want this. I'm not trying to say like, just have a little bit as you go. But then that almost reinforces it. It's like, no, just like swallow it down so you can't taste it with the nice stuff.
Oh, see, I eat in reverse order.
Yeah.
I eat all the worst stuff first and then leave the Yorkshire pudding for last.
Oh, so you like treat yourself at the end. You're like, I've just got to get from this.
I'm like, get through these peas and then we got
Yeah.
Yorkshire pudding.
Overall, on supplements though, it's important that they support and not replace natural ingredients that you're getting from your food, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
about eating as a balanced a diet as you possibly can that supports your running.
I mean,
Yeah.
the clue's in the name, supplement. You need
Yeah.
to supplement the diet that you have. And like we've said, if you are missing things, then supplements can be great, but equally it might be cheaper and easier to evaluate the diet that you have rather than starting kind of lengthy monthly subscriptions for lots of different things
Yeah.
that you could get through your everyday meals.
Yeah, and try some of the research yourself to make sure it's kind of relevant to you, and don't necessarily trust the kind of Google search, which will give you this AI generated thing. You can click into the sources that the AI generation gives you and make sure you then trust them, or that they're recent enough, or that they're relevant. You know, there's a difference between
Completely.
sedentary adults or people who are over 80 or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Like loads of the studies are done on massively different populations. So I would say equip yourself as much as you can, and then sort of, if you're going to introduce something, try one thing at a time. So you're not kind of throwing loads of stuff and thinking, oh, most of this seems to work, and then you end up with £100 a month on supplements because you sort of
Yeah.
you don't want to stop any of them.
Yeah, it is a bit of a minefield, but hopefully that's given you some of the most popular ones that you might see and a little bit more guidance. Shall we go through some running news?
Let's do it.
Being an athlete is really expensive. Thoughts?
Well, this is about Gabby Thomas.
Of course it is, mate.
Look at the little smile on his
So
face.
for any
How
relatively
just
new
wedged
listeners to the
this
Running
in?
Channel podcast, Rick is absolutely obsessed with Gabby Thomas. She is his favourite athlete.
Correct. So she said ahead of the Tokyo Olympics 2021,
Ended up being in 2021.
2021, that it cost her between 50 and 100,000 US dollars to compete, and she put that down to the cost of a coach, the cost of the type of workouts for her equipment, the cost of a manager,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking 100K.
$100,000, yeah.
Is that realistic?
It wasn't. It was a very short clip, wasn't it? I'm not sure whether that spread over like the 4 years or whether that.
Yeah.
I assume it not. I assume it was in the relatively recent, like close to the Olympics term. The agent thing, I think, is a slightly misleading one. Like, you don't pay your agent unless they make you money. So that one's not like a. You know, if the agent makes you money, then you give them 20% of it or whatever.
15. Well, 15.
you wouldn't pay your agent
Negotiating
money.
with you. Where it's like 20%? Absolutely not.
Well, whatever it might be. But yeah, the other stuff, like, it is the real costs. So I mean, most of it is the cost of living,
Yeah.
I think. But then
I think as well, though, as in we've just talked about supplements and how much they could cost.
Yeah.
But then I think there are going to be so many hidden costs depending on what your trajectory to that kind of championships or Olympics
Yeah.
is. Like, if you start factoring in like medical costs,
Well, yeah,
if
and
you're ill,
bear in
or
mind in the US in particular, like, you're going to have to be paying for private healthcare.
Scans,
certainly to get the scans and all that sort of
appointments,
stuff.
I see what you mean.
That's not going to be
Treat-
cheap.
But you'd have to do that here. You'd have to do that in the
altitude
UK.
camps.
Yes, you would have to do it in the UK. A lot of UK athletes that are competing at the highest level have lottery funding, and so some of their medical stuff was covered. And
Yeah.
so I had private medical healthcare and could get scans and stuff as part of that, so I didn't have to pay out for that. But yeah, it's a bit like in a lot of sports. You see, certainly, obviously, golf and tennis, they make a huge amount of money, but then they do have to pay out for their like hotel, their travel. They've got a big entourage, all that sort of stuff. I was never traveling with an entourage. And
No.
when I was traveling to races and stuff, that was paid for by the race organisers. So the travel and the hotel was paid for. But just day to day,
I would love to see you with an entourage.
Well-
Can you imagine Andy's
yeah,
entourage?
but it's
me going to
There'd
Stansted
be
at
like-
2 in the morning.
There'd
with,
be one guy dragging a library.
Andy Hubdell.
yeah, just
The
pull it.
coach.
They'd all be in the Andy
Do you know-
Bradley shoes.
Do you know what though? This is performance related, because when we went to the Open Golf a couple of years ago, and it was in the Wirral, we were
On the
staying.
Wirral.
We were staying with a golfer who's a kind of friend of ours,
Yeah.
and he missed the cut, and it cost him and his family just over £15,000 just to get on the first tee. And when he missed the cut,
Yeah.
he flew his whole family back, and he reckoned it cost him over 20 grand in the end to come and do the Open on the Wirral.
Just for that one?
Yeah, but he missed the cut. So that was pure expense.
Yeah, I'd argue that those- that-
So Gabby Thomas, to get to the start line, there's a certain expense to get you there. Now, if you're at the top of your game, she's got big sponsorship deals. She's earning enormous amounts of money. But the athletes who are not
Most athletes aren't,
at that level, which is most of them,
Yeah.
to get yourself around the world, to get yourself a nutritionist, training camps, quality food, supplements, plane tickets, hotels, coach, S&C expertise, gym facilities, wherever you go, there is big money to get yourself to the start line.
Yeah. I would just on the golf thing, that person has chosen to bring their whole family to watch them, right? That's not, you don't need to spend 15 grand to bring your family to watch you play golf.
But if you live in that, if you work in that environment, you would end up not spending much of your life with your kids because they'd be traveling around the world all the time. So you kind of have to bring your young kids.
Yeah, that is
with
hard.
You.
I think with all
otherwise
of
you're
it-
stuck. And that was his argument.
I think I was thinking of wider family, like, your parents. and
No,
stuff
I think he was just talking, his wife and his two, young children. He was like, well, I'm not going to see them because I travel around the world playing golf.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
was
hard.
3 children for my career, and I did spend broadly January until March out of the country without coming back. So it was like that, racing in the US, racing on the indoor circuit, then traveling to Australia and training with a group out there that I trained with at altitude, traveling to and from the mountains and Sydney and Melbourne and stuff. So yeah, that wasn't cheap. Luckily, at various points, I did have sponsors that were basically helping cover a whole bunch of that stuff. And then it depends, there's an extreme, I think to do everything in the US would be more expensive. That would be my perception of it.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of coaching in the UK, for example, where it's just changed slightly now. But when I was doing it, very few coaches were actually paid. They might be paid out of the
cut from winnings.
Yeah, or out of the sponsorship. So it might be an agreement with your shoe sponsor that as part of sponsoring me as an athlete, you've got to give this much money to my coach. But that wouldn't have been a true salary in those days. It would have been a little bit of money. And then most of them were doing it just because they loved it. And so that those costs weren't that high. But in America, it's a much more professionalized thing, and even was 20 years ago as well.
Quick shout out to the Cornish athletics track that was damaged by an arson attack.
Yeah, we wanted to give this a shout out. Around Halloween, the Par track in Cornwall was set on fire.
It's
and
nuts.
we're going to put the link. They've got a GoFundMe link, which we'll put in the show notes of this podcast, because athletics tracks are few and far between in the UK.
Yeah.
And so this will be devastating to the people that want to go and run on a track.
Yeah, it's just a strange thing to try and spoil a community area like that. So yeah, hopefully they can get it fixed.
Questions.
Yes. Debate time.
Now, this is
We're gonna wade into controversy here. Rick likes to deliberately take a controversial
because
point.
we've all watched this clip, so I don't think we will. So this is from Ryan Ford, aka Chunky Dancer from Northwest Leicestershire.
Love that.
And Leicestershire is at the heart of his question. I know the rule is you should always use chip time over Strava time, but please, can I get a pass? I ran the Leicester Half Marathon last week, and things did not go to plan. Not too far after we left the start line, we were running through the city centre and somehow ended up on an open dual carriageway. This is an incredible video.
Yeah.
Someone
It's
quickly
really eerie,
realised,
isn't it?
that we were obviously off course and we were weaving to get back on the correct route. We eventually found the course. We merged back the course route with a slower starting pen who seemingly didn't take the wrong turn. Fortunately, everyone was safe, but it was pandemonium.
It's a good word, that.
It's a great word.
Great word.
I asked to compare distances on our watches with someone whose group didn't stray, and I had to run 700 metres more. The race organisers have since apologised, said they were unable to change everyone's official times. Surely I can count my Strava time in this instance.
Do you want my controversial opinion?
Go on.
Right, Ryan, I'm really sorry. This is going to be a hard truth.
Oh, Sarah, settle in.
Oh, no.
You can count it. You can absolutely count that. The time that you ran that half marathon in, when it said half marathon on your watch, is the time you ran it in. However, it means diddly squat to anyone else. You can't enter a race with that time. It's not official. Legally, officially, half marathonally, doesn't count. I'm sorry. It's a cruel world out there. I'm glad no one got hurt, but unfortunately,
Yeah, because they were running into traffic at one
doesn't
point.
count.
The video is a bit scary.
you
but-
risked your life.
Open traffic and bollards just popping
Oh my
up,
goodness,
taking people
bollards
out.
terrify me. There's a
Yeah.
terrifying video of a 5K that was in Battersea Park a year or two ago.
and
and
someone
they're
runs
going
Oh, gosh.
so fast, and they just take a bollard to the balls, basically.
Oh god, yeah. But I mean, this is
Oh, no.
absolutely heartbreaking. But what?
I'm with Sarah here, actually.
What
Sorry,
is
Ryan.
the
No.
point of a
You-
chip?
Yeah.
On Power of 10, it's never going to show up.
Yeah.
So I think that's
So
what you're going to have to
for
take.
anyone outside the UK, Power of 10 is a rankings website, a bit like Run Britain, that lists your kind of official performances. So yeah, you know that you can run that time.
If you've
You-
got a
you have-
chalkboard at home where you write all your PBs on it, that time can go on there.
Yeah,
But you are gonna have to run another
It's effectively
half.
the same. Doing that is effectively the same as just deciding one day I'm going to go out and run a half marathon. I'm just going to use my watch to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is totally legit, and it gives you a really good indicator of how fit you are and how fast you can run.
But not
but it's not an official.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically we're saying you've done it.
Done it. Well done.
Great run. Oh, that sort of it feels like a sarcastic.
It
clap.
does.
Sarah.
I feel
Ryan
awkward.
can't see that I'm not clapping because I didn't want to like patronise him.
I know. No, you did really well. You ran that time. Great job, buddy.
Oh, I knew you were going to take
Great job, buddy.
No, as in you did do it. But then does that not
Yeah.
bring into question like why do we all care about our chip time so much? But like as in I'm in the same boat, Ryan. So me and you are in the same
Yeah.
position. I have run a sub 20 minute 5k.
You have.
But it was at a park run.
Yeah, that's fine.
Park runs, but on Power of 10, you have
Yeah.
your 5k time and then you have your park run time because it's
Yeah.
not measured, it's not
If you-
official, it's not ratified, therefore it has a separate line.
If you-
So I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, if you take it to a really extreme, like logical extrapolation of this, if you're in the Olympics and like one of the marshals sends you the wrong way in the marathon,
Yeah.
and then you come back on course 200 meters later, or
You're not
whatever,
gonna get that
And then
medal.
at the end, you're not allowed to say to the guy in like the bronze medal position, like, well,
I'll have that.
yeah, my Strava time.
My watch
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, I went through the marathon
Yeah.
distance in like.
There was someone actually I think it was the men's marathon at the World Champs this year, where it was as they were coming back towards the stadium, they didn't take a wrong turn, but they basically
went
just
wide,
didn't
right?
take the
Yeah.
racing
Yeah.
line, and it did cost them.
Yeah. Which is why we always talk about chip time, because inevitably in anyone's half marathon or marathon, your watch is probably going to say slightly longer than the actual
Yeah.
official distance.
This is pretty unlikely though, and Ryan, I don't think this is going to happen again.
I hope not.
This
'cause
is
that
a
would
one-off.
be unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does remind me of Andy and my cross country days. There was once a race, and I remember it was
Just the time when you threw a shoe across the minibus and hit me in the head.
No, but I did do that.
Yeah, okay.
And there was a race in Liverpool, a cross country race, and it was a cross year race. It was very open. I don't know if it was just after we left, but Andy and I were in the same race,
Right.
and obviously
Which is quite unusual
which
because
is-
he's so much older than
correct.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He could have pushed you over. You
Yeah.
would, what, a
So-
toddler?
wait.
Sorry.
I'll
Some kind of safeguarding issue here, surely.
Yeah. Yeah, why are they letting the year ones race the year 12s?
because I was good for age.
Right. Good for age. I sprinted out the womb.
And all the leaders took a wrong turn. They missed the turn. So I took the correct route.
I vaguely remember
I think
this,
it was
yeah.
in Sefton Park.
Yeah.
And I came out after the first loop of this cross-country course winning the race, as in leading the race.
Really?
And I remember our cross-country coach, Dave Wilkes, was like, he always used to sound, keep it running, Ricky Gilsey, keep it running, Ricky Gilsey.
You could hear him from
You
about
could hear
3
him
miles
from
away.
like miles away. And he was like, what on earth has happened? He thought I'd been on the supplements. I just came in past, and they were like, "What has he done this week?" And then Andy's about 200 meters back, and I was just like, "I just took the correct route."
Love that.
I mean, Rick has I feel like Rick probably took a shortcut. And we all went the right way.
I actually, you all took, you took over me a little bit later on the second lap, and then you figured it out. But
Yeah.
I think I still finished 7th. I think it's the highest position I've ever come.
But
Yeah.
do you not feel though everyone else went wrong? So
Well, it doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. That
I
doesn't
took
say
the
that on the
correct
results.
route. I took the correct chip time.
Yeah, fair. Fair.
Anyway, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was great. Let us know if you have any other questions. Email in podcast@runningschannel.com and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. And once you've finished listening today, please share this with anyone who might like to listen to the Running Channel podcast, because we love your support.
Bye.